All right, all right, all right. Long time no see. Привіт усім, друзі. Я супер щасливий знову бути у прямому ефірі. Ми з минулого разу, скільки вас з вами не бачились, то виходжу у лайв. І за останні тижні до мене додавалися нові підписники, тому я вас вітаю. На моєму Ютубі та на моєму інстаграмі хочу насамперед себе презентувати. Мене звати Сергій, я тренер по бізнес-комунікації на англійській мові. Працюю з людьми, яким потрібно багато комунікувати у своїй професії на англійській мові, які зараз працюють, живуть у англомовних країнах. Я допомагаю людям з презентацією себе, їх ідей, перемовинами, проходжу в бесід, публічними виступами. Все це на англійській мові. І одна з моїх нових послуг – це персональний комунікативний менторинг. Я зараз взяв собі декілька клієнтів. Якщо, наприклад, ви живете у Америці та повністю працюєте та розмовляєте на англійській мові, і вам потрібна підтримка, так? Я зараз у Телеграмі даю персональну таку послугу, де до мене можна звертатися, та я буду вам допомагати з вимовою, з ідеальними конструкціями під ваш конкретний кейс у вашому контексті роботи. Це коротко презентація мене. До того, як стати таким контент-мейкером, у мене був свій бізнес, який я побудував на Штати зі своїм коуфаундером. І цей бізнес був проданий у 2021 році за понад $1 мільйон. Тому, коли я вчу вас, любі друзі, комунікації та професійній комунікації, я знаю, про що розповідаю, тому що сам пройшов, і досі у мене є проекти виключно на іноземних ринках, де я спілкуюся, закриваю угоди, допомагаю людям підіймати інвестиції. Все це виключно на англійській мові. Це коротко про мене. До речі, як sound? Anyway, so we're gonna switch to English language right now. And the topic for today's stream is how to reinvent yourself. How can we reinvent ourselves, right? And in order to set off with this topic, I decided to first lay out the structure. So within our talk, we will address 3 vital questions. These questions are: when should we think about reinventing ourselves? Well, first of all, I'm gonna tell you what I define as reinvention, what I'm calling as a reinvention, right? Then we're going to talk about when we should reinvent ourselves, right? How can we reinvent ourselves? And the last one is why. Why in the God's name? Why in the world should someone want to reinvent themselves? Okay? Hopefully my language will be clear and understandable, because I'm super hyped. I'm super excited to talk about this, because I myself have gone through this procedure, who have gone through this process of reinventing or changing my core expertise, right, in terms of my professional direction. And I'm super excited to share some of my stories, some of the lessons I learned from great speakers and great thinkers who I admire. Hey guys, thank you for joining. I think the majority of my followers will see this as a recording, but nonetheless. So what do I define as reinvention? Reinvention to me is the ability to critically assess your current landscape, current professional landscape, right? And the joy, right? The amount of content, the amount of happiness that you feel, right? That you experience on the daily basis. And if this amount of happiness or joy or satisfaction or fulfillment does not meet your expectations, right? It's there is a need to reinvent ourselves. So for me, reinvention is the process of letting go something that we have or that we have had, right? For the sake, right, of something new, for the sake of embarking on a new journey and trying out something new, right? If you work as an electric engineer, but you always dreamt of being a dancer, your reinvention might be precisely that, letting go the engineering technical sphere and tap into or take a flyer with the dancing opportunity, right? So this is, for me, reinvention is pretty much a drastic change of who you currently are and what you do on the daily basis. And since work constitutes like what 80% of our life, right? I think the majority of my talk will revolve around specifically the work part, right? The job, what we do to earn money. If we are able to reinvent ourselves as business professionals, will most probably kind of uh, drag other spheres and highly and massively influence other spheres of our life. Okay. Okay. Now, when the next question is when is it high time, when is it the peak time, when is it the perfect time to reinvent ourselves, to make this radical change? Well, for me, the answer to this question is if you have had enough. What I mean by that, if you come home every single day exhausted and you are not looking forward to the next day at work, you're not anticipating it, you know, and thinking about it, and it's just something that you are enduring, right? This is something that you trying to cope with, and that really takes a lot of energy out of you. This is the first sign that you have to reinvent yourself. So the second sign is the surrounding. For example, I really like this quote about the room. If you are the smartest person in the room, you should change the room. I know people who outworked, outperformed everyone at their current place of work. And they feel awesome because they are the smartest person in the room. The problem with that is that this is a limiting mindset. If you are the smartest person in the room, you should change the freaking room. That's the rule, because you are not growing with these people. So the second sign that you should reinvent yourself is that you are the smartest person in the room. And logically enough, you no longer grow as fast, right, as you used to when you were not the smartest person in the room. So that's the surrounding. The first sign, you come home drained. Second one, you are surrounded by people who are inferior to you, who are not as smart, who are not as witty, fun, and everything of this kind. than you, right? Now the third sign that you should change the room is that you have emotional disbalance. You're seeking for therapy, for help from your therapist, and so on and so forth. You're looking forward to your vacation more than you're looking forward to your next day at work. I know that this could be a romanticized image, but believe me, guys, it is possible. There are millions of people who are looking forward to their job, looking forward to meeting people who they will encounter in their office or whatever. And this is just a parallel universe, but it does exist, right? So if you think that some people can be looking forward to their job more than they're looking forward to a vacation, it's actually the reality. It's something that's happening right now, while some of us, or we are sitting at our desk and thinking, huh, should I change job or not? But they pay me a lot, right? But am I satisfied with myself? Do I live my dream life or not? Okay. So basically, this is the Jim Rohn's concept. Jim Rohn says that the change is inevitable, and if you're pretty much in your comfort zone, knowing everything around you, basically reduce the amount of stress from unexpected unpredictability, right? So what we do as we grow, we reduce amount of stress driven by unpredictability. We become these people who know everything, what is going to happen in 1 hour, in 2 hours, what are we going to see on the streets coming back home. We know how people will respond at the supermarket, in the parking line, whatever. We just make our life incredibly predictable. And Jim Rohn states that um, pretty much this is not freedom. The predictability to him is like a prison. He says that when you know everything in your world, in your environment, you become a prisoner of this environment, right? And growth and opportunities are only possible when you, and freedom by the same breath is only possible when you tap into unknown, right? So if you tap into unknown, this in a natural way brings you a lot of opportunities. People hate problems, but Tony Robbins, for example, always argues that problems are opportunities. And by the sound of what I just was talking about, pretty much when we predict everything, when we know how our day is going to unfold, we know what to expect everywhere. This is the absence of problems, right? We don't want to be stressed. We want to know everything that's going to happen by every single corner, right? But if something unpredictable happens, we tend to call it a problem. And this is where the perception, this is where this trick of perceiving problems as opportunities, becoming a key to our growth. Because something goes wrong, something goes not the way as we expected it to go, right? We can look at this, right? Is this something that's causing stress, or we can look at this as something that we can learn from, right? So this is one of the most critical points. And now this is the question, like, when should we start thinking of reinventing ourselves? Next point that I want to make. Oh, this is like an underlying statement for the entire talk, that I forgot to mention, that in our life we always get what we tolerate, right? So I'm going to repeat this once again because it's super important even for myself. We get what we tolerate, right? I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but we all have something that we maybe we're not in fond of in our life, we're not super fans of, but we still tolerate this. For example, in my business experience working with investors from Genesis, one of the biggest IT companies in Ukraine. So I built a business, I built a startup, and we were working with investors from Genesis, right? And I actually I tolerated everything that transpired there. A lot of things that I didn't like. I didn't like how they talked to us. I didn't like what like we were supposed to do in terms of management, right? It wasn't me, right? I tolerated this kind of attitude, and as a result, I pretty much burned out. I got a massive mental health issues. I started using drugs, right? I did have a lot of money, but I was mentally freaking drained. I was mentally freaking exhausted, right? So I got what I tolerated, right? Now think about maybe people in your life who you tolerate, who you maybe should have a open conversation, a blunt, maybe difficult conversation, saying, "Hey, enough is enough." Maybe your boss, maybe some of your colleagues who are not in their place, who are pretty much maybe just going over the line in terms of what they do, right? So there's always this law that we always get what we tolerate. And the more people tolerate something, the more they kind of become complacent, right? They start thinking that, hey, that's how it's supposed to be, and I can't do anything. And this is where people start judging others. When you hear people judging others, you can always predict that this person hasn't achieved a lot in his life or her life. So when you're in presence of someone laying judgment or criticizing others, you know that they are not successful, because successful people are not pointing fingers. Successful people are not looking for someone who's guilty for their flaws. They're looking inside. They're looking into themselves and think, "Hey, where did I fuck up?" Or how can this failure make me freaking stronger? This is the mindset of successful people. And you don't have to be a jerk for it. Don't get me wrong. Because I for one, really, at some period, like of my uh, like psychological growth, I felt like if you are mentally strong, then you are a jerk. It's not the case at all. Mentally strong people could be the nicest, most beautiful, and kind people in the world, but they're just mentally strong. And this is my aspiration, to become a mentally strong person who's kind, who's compassionate. But at the same time, if someone's going over the line, if someone's actually in my lane, if someone's going over, like just violating my borders, because I'm going to step up and I'm going to say something. And the same thing applies to our life. When the the environment, the surrounding world is just violating our own borders, this is I think this is a high time to think if we're where we want to be, and if maybe there is, and maybe it's time to change something, right? And I think that uh, to to wrap up the answer to the question when should we reinvent ourselves, I think that we should we should be warned, and should be aware that the time is going is just slipping through our fingers, and the older we become, the less chances we have to drastically change our life. Yeah, because we got family, we got some bills to pay, we got more commitments, right? And the older we become, the less chance there is to go chase the dream. So I watched Tony Robbins' workshop yesterday, and he shared the story. He's got his daughter is like 25 or 24 years old lady right now, and he shared the conversation he had with her when she was like what 19 or something. She was living in with she was living with her parents in California, and she went to college to UCLA or something in Los Angeles. And he asked her one day, "How's your college? How's life?" And then she said, "Great. I'm in this college, having amazing experience. I have straight A's." So she was a straight A's student, right? So he was super proud of her. But then he proceeded to asking, "What's the progress with your dream?" And her dream was to dance on the Broadway in New York. So she was attending college in New York, in Los Angeles, but her dream was to be a Broadway dancer, right? And he asked her, "How's your progress on your dream?" And she said, "But like I live in Oh, she said like I'm dancing like she was really successful in Los Angeles in her local dancing school, right? So she pretty much paced or like outperformed everyone in Los Angeles. But the problem is that I told you about the room. If you are the smartest person in the room, you should leave the room, right? Morning, Irene, Ira. So if you're the smartest person in the room, you should leave the room. So his daughter was the best dancer in the local community in LA. But her dream was to become a Broadway dancer in New York. And in order for her to become a really, really, really spectacular, exceptional dancer and have a chance to really make her dream a reality, she had to move to New York. Can you imagine? Tony Robbins told her daughter that you should move to New York and leave college or take a break from college. This is what I call a progressive fucking parenting. I'm sorry for my language, but I mean so many parents don't understand that this fire in your belly, this desire and this thirst for for achieving your dreams, it doesn't last for a lifetime. When you're young, you should chase your dreams. And college education is not something that should stand in your way. So if a lot of I always say I always draw the example of Michael Jordan. I wasn't as lucky as Michael. Michael knew at 16 or 15 years old that he wanted to become a basketball player. That's a tunnel vision from that point forward. He knew who he wanted to be, right? You just then put your mind to it, you set your mind to it and you go, right? Now, a lot of us we don't know who we want to become. And for some people it takes like a lifetime to find the vocation, to find the profession that fulfills them, right? On the daily basis. And you know about Grandma Moses? Grandma Moses is a painter who find her passion and became world known painter at 84 years old. At 84. So understanding what you want to do in life is a gift, right? But if you don't try out different things, and if you like, you might not, discover it at all. So uh, so talking about this, her daughter, she went to Broadway and she became a Broadway dancer. So right, uh, this, long story short, when you have this clear vision or clear understanding of what drives you crazy, what from the good from in good way, in a good way, what you're really really passionate about, and you are not doing it for some reason, and you think that maybe tomorrow I will start making my dream a reality, no, this is a mistake. And this is also the lesson from Jim Rohn. He says that there is no tomorrow. You should elaborate, you should develop such a thing as sense of urgency. Uh, Business people listening to me and know what I'm talking about. There is such a term as paranoid CEO. So a sense of urgency is that you have to do everything now. And I'm not advocating for this kind of a mindset, because it can drive you nuts that you're always missing out on something and you should do something today. But I'm really, 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 really um, a fan of this idea that if this is your dream, what you're talking about, and you haven't, and you didn't start, and you didn't take any action, you haven't taken any action on making your dream a reality, you should really, really, uh, get the sense of urgency that there is no tomorrow. I have to start doing something for my dream now, right? Yeah. So, and I think we slowly transitioned into the answer to the question how. How do we reinvent ourselves, right? Hi, by the way, guys, thank you so much for joining and watching this thing live. Maybe you can send me some likes if you like what I'm talking here. Вибачте, якщо тільки на англійській сьогодні, чомусь мені захотілося на англійській виключно побалакати з вами. Я робив міксовану англійську плюс українську, але сьогодні тільки англійська. Only English for today's live stream. By the way, how do you like my new t-shirt? Believe, guys, believe that you can change. So I think the answer to the question, how do we reinvent ourselves, how do we rediscover ourselves, starts with this simple idea of that you should believe that you should believe that you deserve a better life. You deserve the life of passion. You deserve the life of love. You deserve the life of fulfillment. You do not deserve to hate your job. Yes, believe it and achieve it. Right? We're all designed to be happy. We're all designed to shine. Right? Some of us can shine, on the stage. Some of us can shine as a family member. Some of us can shine as a professional, or as a scientist, or maybe like there are different ways to shine. But if you think that your potential is not fully uncovered, and you feel that there is so much more in you, then that's definitely a sign that you should start thinking on this reinvention thing. So believe how to reinvent ourselves. Start believing that you deserve the best life possible, right? Now the second how is uh becoming really really good, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. I'm gonna give you my own example. Like I was an IT entrepreneur, right? I was a startupper, then who became a business owner for 7 years. So at 29 years old, I was kicked out. Well, which is pretty rough way of saying that I was fired. I was fired from my own company. I don't want to even get into how it happened, but when you sell your stocks to your investor, they basically become your employer. For all the startuppers who are listening to me, I actually gave this talk in the startup community recently in Ukraine. Hi, guys, if some of you are listening to me. So the harsh truth is that um, if you like, your investors are not like your lifesavers. They're not. Maybe they might not even be your friends. They're definitely not your enemy. But from what I experienced them to be mentors and your employers, especially if you sell the largest equity to them, right? My investors, I tip my hat to them. I learned so much from them. They're amazing, successful people. Um, I don't have the same values with them, right? But at the same time, like I learned so much from them. That being said, that being said, I really, I was kind of fired, right, from my own company. I was asked to leave, and this is where my reinvention started. And it took me 3 years to finally uncover this world of social media, right? And uncover that I'm a pretty good teacher, that I can teach people, that I can inspire people, that I can talk. And this is something that I can monetize, right? By the way, I'm thinking of running an in-person public speaking workshop in Kiev. Думаю, зробити воркшоп у Києві по публічним виступам, по ефективній комунікації на англійській. Не знаю, можливо, так 3-4-часовий воркшоп у Києві face-to-face. Якщо ви, друзі, вважаєте, що це класна ідея, насипте лайків, я не знаю. Я дуже хочу побачити вас вживу і дати велію, і дати якісь круті лайфхаки по комунікації на англійській. Навіть не знаю коли, але точно хочу це зробити. And yeah, so basically, for me, I think I have a friend, and his superpower lies within his ability to change something before push comes to shove. Push comes to shove, it means when shit hits the fan. So you change something, he changes something not when it's a critical point, not when it's desperate need. He changes something when he feels like it's time to change something. That's what I encourage you all guys to think about. Maybe it's time to change something. And he possesses this crucial ability to say enough is enough. I don't want to endure, and I don't want to feel this pain anymore. There are just so many things that I dislike in my current state of life, or at work, whatever. And he just uh, turns the switch, right, and start moving in different direction. So he changed his place of work. For example, he was working for like 5 years in a company, in my company, the one that I started, and he decided to go freelance, and he became a freelancer. And then after he was freelancing for like 6 months, he decided that nah, I'm going to change and I'm going to do something else. So people like that, I really, really admire them for not being afraid to change something. Really, because I mean, I still lack this ability. And my reinvention took place as a consequence to a rough patch, to some series of events in my business. But I'm super, super grateful that it happened, right? So as a reminder, we all believe how to perceive this fuck up, how to deem this thing that took place. On the outside, it can look like something that is really, really detrimental. But when you start thinking about it, maybe everything happens for the best. All right. Well, if we adapt this mentality that everything happens for the best, oh boy, man, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. So yeah, so how do we reinvent ourselves? We do something that is uncomfortable. We develop the sense of urgency. We're not putting like things on the shelf. We're not putting our dreams on the shelf, right? Because you can wake up one day and your life is gonna be, you know, just miss. You can miss your life by not. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to do something for the sake of your dream, because your dream is what matters. Once again, if you know what you want, this is already a massive part of the job. If you found something, if you haven't found it, check my live stream on passion. I was talking about passion, and the key idea from this live stream is that, conversely to my investors who always argued that passion is bullshit, that you should become successful at something and then fall in love with that, I disagree. So conversely to this philosophy, I think that we should start with passion. We should we should listen to our heart. I know it sounds romantic, but when you're watching some certain people, when you get goosebumps, you get chills when you look at someone, how they talk and what they do. These are all little hints of your passion, of what you really want to do in life. So go research people who you love listening to. Go to maybe some events that pick your interest. Just research, just investigate and try different things, and I'm positive that you will locate that something, that say secret something that you would want to do in your life. And once you found it, don't settle. Like, try one, two, three, four times. This is an interesting lesson also from Tony Robbins. He said that when you um, for example, when you fear something, what is the guarantee? Like, no, sorry. So here's the question for those of you who are online. um, what is the guarantee that you will get something that you want? What is the guarantee that you will get something that you focus on? Do we have a guarantee that we will get something that we focus on and what we want? What do you think, guys? Чи ми отримуємо те, на чому фокусуємося, та чого супер сильно хочемо? No guarantee. Absolutely. There is no freaking guarantee. And the second question for you guys. Is there a guarantee that we will get something that we fear? Чи є гарантія того, що того, чого ми боїмося, воно страпиться? So the point is that yes, we will most definitely get something that we're fucking afraid of, right? When we focus on what we fear, we will most definitely end up. We will most definitely end up having something that we are afraid of, because this is a negative paradigm, right? This is a negative pattern in our mind. And sooner or later, people who are afraid, I don't know, to be poor, they end up being poor, right? People who are afraid being sick, they end up being sick, because you think about it all the freaking time. Not only is this like the energy around you, kind of, and you kind of, you only see things, poor people, you only see sick people, and guess what? Sooner or later, you become one of them. But when you and it's much easier to end up having something that you fear, but there's never a guarantee that you will get something that you want.
But that's why it's so freaking hard. That's why success never comes easy, because you don't have a guarantee. Some people think that they will learn a lesson from Jeff Bezos or anyone who shared their success journey, and they will. And here's all these business coaches or whoever give you these recipes for success, but these recipes work for them only. There are definitely some common, like, success leaves like tips, that's for sure, right? There are some common traits or common things that successful people do, but there's so many things that people don't say, right? And I think that perseverance, understanding that you want this thing, you want to, for example, build I don't know, like a barber shop or a coffee shop business, and you're really focused on that, and you're doing everything on build for to build this coffee shop business, but it doesn't work, you lose all your money. Moreover, you're indebted now. You took some money from investors or whatever, you failed them. So, and you feel like, oh my god, like my life is over, right? You failed you failed big time. And this is where Simon Sinek philosophy comes in handy. He says, don't look at your failures as failures, just look at them as fallings. When a little infant baby learns how to walk, they fall and they get up, they fall and they get up. So start naming, start framing your failures as falling, falls. I just fell and I'm gonna get up again. I know it's easier said than done, but that's the common mindset pretty much all successful people share. Now, another answer to the question, how do we reinvent ourselves? How do we manage this crisis, maybe that I've definitely felt when I was reinventing myself? How do we weather the storm? How do we persevere and stay on our feet and keep going? We have to have supporting environment. We have to have the people around us. I told you they should be, maybe with your friends they shouldn't be the smartest people, but with your friends they definitely have to be supportive people. And what I can testify to is that there are so many people that you consider to be your friends, but who are really, really harmful for your growth and for your success, because they don't want, subconsciously, but they don't want you to succeed. They ain't gonna concede, they ain't gonna admit that they don't want you to succeed, but subliminally they don't want you to succeed. They want you to stay on the same level. Right? That's the problem. That's why reinventing ourselves is such a painful process, because a lot of times, or even more often than not, in order to reinvent ourselves and change our life, we need to also change the environment. We need to change people who we communicate on a daily basis. Because, yeah, you want to grow, you're sitting here, people who you want to be like are there. So you somehow need to find an access to them, right? For example, I just joined a runners community. This is a community of runners. We share the same interest, sports, running in particular. And this community consists of amazingly, just stunningly great people. And these people are all successful. And I understand that I much rather want to spend my time with them than, for example, spend the time with my basketball friends. Although there are also successful folks there, but for the most part, it's not the case, right? So yeah, you can tell me that, dude, that's kind of, but that's what it takes to reinvent yourself. That's what it takes, to speed up in terms of your business development, or speed up your uh, your chase, to getting closer to your dream. Yeah. um and the last point before we get to Q&A, if someone's got some question, you can always ask them in the end of this live stream. But um, as we are closing, I'm gonna say why it's even like, apart from understanding that we all deserve to live to our full potential, we all deserve to spread our wings, right? But aside from that, understanding, like, why do we have to reinvent ourselves in the time of crisis, in the time when you feel like you are not in your place, when you do something that you dislike, and maybe when you talk to people who you don't want to don't want to be around. um, we all deserve like the best life possible, right? And I think that having this sense of purpose really, really helps. Like understanding why you're doing things. For example, I'm doing these live streams and I'm more on the educational part right now. I made a conscious effort, and I actually made a choice that I will be a much better tutor, I will be a much better teacher and a mentor and the role model for my students than I was before. I finally accepted this role of a teacher. You know this great phrase. Вибачте, вже заговорююся. When the student is ready, the teacher arrives. When the student is ready, the teacher arrives. We all need, according to um, Eastern philosophy, we all need students, we need mentors, right? We need followers, we need to follow people, and we need followers of our own to be a complete human being, right? And for me, being a teacher for someone is such an honor, right? Because it's not only about the language or business practices, it's also about some wisdom that I have accumulated throughout my life. And I made a conscious effort that I'm going to be in service. I'm going to be a much better teacher. I'm going to be someone who my students would want to really, really be around, and who will grow, talking to me, not only as English speakers or as business people, but also as individuals. So I think I finally found my purpose. Not always the purpose correlate or fully goes in the line with the monetary gain. Not always we can monetize our purpose, right? But that's the perfect case scenario. That's the best case scenario, when we're able to finally, you know, capitalize on our purpose. Best companies in the world have the purpose statement. It's not marketing that helps them to get and retain their customers. It's their message. Apple says be different, right? They don't want you to be as everyone else. They want you to be this. They want you to be they want you to be in their boat of beauty, of self-expression, of amazing experience, right? And Nike, for example, Nike's motto is just do it. It's also about purpose. By the way, I watched this movie, about the creation, about how Nike signing up Michael Jordan. It's just an exceptional movie. I highly recommend you all watching it. But Nike says that just do it. It's the purpose. It's in their DNA, right? It's something that circulates in their blood. So you see what I'm saying? Basically, if you decide to reinvent yourself, I think this will be my final point. If you decide to reinvent yourself, it's better be something that has got clear and true purpose. Because if you think that you're gonna delete your Instagram page and change your job just to get paid more money, this is not reinvention. Reinvention is actually finally discovering something that you truly enjoy, that you can do endlessly without sleep and money, and that really, really gives you so much energy to live this life to the fullest. This is the real reinvention. When you do something and you found something that is purposeful, that serves your purpose, right? And that really, really, really makes sense for you to do it. So reinvention, I think, is only plausible and makes sense when it's got a clear and true purpose that you have identified for yourself. So, what's your purpose in life? Do you want to make other people better? Do you want to help other people in any imaginable way? Do you want to, I don't know, to become the best in your area of expertise? Do you want to teach other people? Do you want to set a world record? Or do you want to be the best? Or Martin Luther King once said that don't let anyone rob you of your somebodyness. Don't let anyone rob you of your somebodyness. That means that it doesn't matter what do you want to do, even if you sweep the streets, right? But you can become the best street sweeper. You can become the best toilet cleaner in the world if that's something that drives you, right? So identify what's your purpose, identify what drives you, like, to get up in the morning and do it. And I think that's a great tipping point. I think it's a great starting point. Yeah, and another great phrase that I wanted to throw at you, a phrase, a quote by Steve Martin. It's a great comedian. I think he's dead already or not. Steve Martin, and he said, "Be as good, they can't ignore you. Be as good, they can't ignore you." Isn't this beautiful? We can escape competition through being authentic, right? Through authenticity. By being authentic and being so good that no one can ignore us, I think it's a recipe for great life, right? When you uncover something that you want to do, you're true and authentic. You capitalizing on your strength, on you know your strength, you know your weaknesses, and then you follow your passion, and you're not afraid, and you fall and you get up again, you fall and you get up again. You understand that this is the part of the process, and you enjoy every single time you fall, just as you enjoy every little win, you enjoy every little failure, right? And then sooner or later you can look at your life, reflecting on your life, and see that, hey, maybe your life is something that you always dreamt of. So yeah, it's been a philosophical discussion, guys. I don't know. Друзі, якісь є питання? Do you have any questions at all about anything might be related to the topic or not? I have a few viewers on YouTube and a few viewers on Instagram. Друзі, якісь питання є? Щось щодо теми, чи просто взагалі, в принципі, по життю, по роботі, по бізнесу? Okay. No. Okay, guys. I think I gave so much of thought that I need to rewatch this thing again. But hopefully, you're welcome, my man. But hopefully, it did make sense, at least somewhere. And God bless you. Stay safe. Slava Ukraini. Cheers.